6 months in, you've had an opportunity to kind of kick the tires a little bit and get a real feel for it. So tell us a little bit about your time here at Oskaloosa so far. I know you're no stranger to Oskaloosa.
Well, I'll tell you, and my wife and I were talking about that the other night. It's just been so amazing and incredible and smooth in so many ways. And just our community, and again, I grew up here, but sometimes you forget like how friendly and loving people are and accepting. And they have just, wrapped their arms around my wife and I and my son. And so that's been awesome coming home, and just the excitement of what's going on in our community and our schools. We have some really fantastic schools, I think very vastly underrated sometimes. And we're really trying to let people know the amazing things that are happening. Obviously, there's a lot of things we want to do better and get better at, and we're working very hard at that. But I'm just so thankful for our staff and our families and kids, because there's a really awesome thing going here. And I'm just very blessed. God's blessed us to be part of the journey.
Well, so yeah, let's talk about some of those things. I mean, I know I might not be here at every board meeting, but I watch from afar, and there's some interesting things that are taking place. I've also heard some numbers as far as the enrollment is up. So let's go through some of those positive things that are taking place, so we can kind of set this interview up in a positive fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. Our enrollment's up about 40-some kids this year, which is a positive increase in trend. Our open enrollment of kids in is also up this year, and that's actually been increasing since our October 1 count day. I don't have the number right now because we're still running it, but about twice a week I get 2 or 3 open enrollment in forms right now, which has been fantastic. And we're really rolling out some very rigorous curriculum and instructional pieces that I think are going to continue to see our test scores improve. And again, they rebounded well back from the COVID pandemic. We got a lot of ground to keep going, but going well. Really impressed. We have made huge strides in student behavior. I think that's an area where, not that it was bad, but it was an area of growth for us. And I've been very impressed. New systems, new things we're putting in place to make sure that all kids feel safe, that our classrooms are not disrupted, and that kids are held to high accountability. So there will be times when we see kids sometimes spend some time with us after school to make up time they missed for things that may have happened, and we just know that's a good lesson for them. But those are some great strides we've made, and we just want to tell our story better. There's so many things I think people don't realize about our community, the assets we have, the facilities, the amazing fine arts facilities, 2 brand new band rooms, and renovated choir orchestra room in our fine arts. We have some of the finest athletic facilities, the George Daly Auditorium, just some of the things that we highlight and people don't realize. But another thing too is we have some of the lowest class sizes in the area and the state. Our average class size at the elementary right now is 18 to 1, and our average 6 through 12 class size at the middle school and high school is 16 to 1. And so sometimes people think we're a big school district, and we have big school opportunities, but we have those small class sizes. And I just think those are all things that have been real positive.
So we've kind of taken the 20,000-foot helicopter tour of how some of this is going. Maybe we can dive into some of the more fine parts of this. So enrollment, what has been implemented this year to help bring that up and also bring those students back that might be open enrolling? So I mean, a little bit more detail on how we're looking at that.
Conversations and relationships. I call it cups of coffee. I've had over 150 cups of coffee with just various stakeholders, parents, business people, clergy, community leaders, and parents. And just, we've been getting lots of feedback. What can we do differently? What can we be better at? We had a pretty stout focus group of parents, students, and employees came through recently with a third-party person that gave us feedback what we can do better. So one of the big things is we're listening and taking feedback on what we need to improve and what needs to be better. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is telling our story much better. And so we have a robust system of really improving our public relations, our communications. We're getting very, very involved in Facebook, and we're going to start Instagram and different things, and more digital content pieces as well. We want to tell our story better so people know the good things are happening. And we have a pretty robust invitational system we're building. We now offer tours. If you're a new family, you want a tour, we will have student ambassadors give you tours. We even have cool gift bags with an Oskaloosa tumbler, and we give you materials. I was happy to report we landed an engineer here recently that took a tour, and we helped a local business get an employee from out of state. We just showed them, and they were very impressed with the community and what we had to offer. So we're getting hands-on to meet with people and just one-on-one relationships. and show them on why Oskaloosa might be the right fit. Oskaloosa is not for everyone, but it is a very amazing, peculiar place that for certain people, it is the perfect fit, and we keep finding more and more people are finding that.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about how the test scores have improved, and you talked about curriculum changes and things like that. Let's dig into that a little bit more, because I know it wasn't all that long ago parents and students and what have you were concerned about test scores and Oskaloosa meeting the grade here statewide. It's great to hear that that's going up. What do you put that towards? What's helped make that happen?
You know, just the absolute strength of our staff. We have such an amazing, hardworking, dedicated, and very, very intelligent staff, and they also are willing to do the hard things. I'm so thankful right now. We're doing new reading and literacy curriculum over at the elementary, and that replaced a curriculum that we think had some areas of growth that just we really couldn't overcome. And so that, you know, we know that's going to be a huge piece to boost our scores. We're really working on what we call relevance as well. We want to make sure the learning at the secondary levels is applicable. You know, when kids go, what's in it for me, or when will I ever use this? So what are we starting to do at the high school and middle school? We're looking at things like work experience. We're looking at internships. We have cool clubs that we're starting out that are career-based at the middle school. So we have things like our medical club. We partnered with Mahaska Health. So medical professionals are meeting once a week with selected students that are interested in medical careers. And all of a sudden, if you can figure out, oh, that's where I'm going to use the algebra, that's where I'm going to use these reading and writing skills, they're more relevant. That's an area that we continue to grow and adapt. We've got a long ways to go, don't get me wrong, but we want all of our kids, the big word's engagement. Are they engaged? Are they coming to school going, yeah, I know where I need this? And that starts at an early level. So we want to give them the competence, the skills of reading and writing and numeracy and all these things and whatnot, but then they can go and apply them in real ways. And that's where kids really start to flourish. And we're starting to really focus on that. And I believe that's going to be the start of just continued growth in those test scores.
And behavior was, I would say, a big topic for parents for several years. And to hear that there's some changes with that, how do you think that those behavioral issues, good or bad, and I'm assuming they're going good because I've heard some positive things, how do you suppose that is being translated in today's enrollment, student achievement, students wanting to come to school? How's that all working out?
You know, it's all about the culture. It's all about the experience, right? If you go into a store and you have a poor experience, or you don't feel safe, or you felt like it was disorganized or chaotic or those types of things, people aren't going to be driven to that. We want to be magnetic. We want to attract people. We want our culture and how we make you feel to be something you want to invite your friends to. People don't invite their friends to average, they invite it to exceptional. And part of that's going to be an amazingly warm culture. So at our elementary, we've spent much time and effort of more training and more higher expectations for our kids. And it's very simple. I believe in a concept called love and logic, and it's a restorative justice, and it just says the natural consequence. So if you don't show up to school, you skip school, guess what? Now you can come to school on Saturday, or you can come to stay after school. And by the way, you can't come to a football game or basketball game until you make that time up. That's a real story from our high school. Or at the elementary, if you were really upset and having a tantrum, that's okay. You can go to another room and calm down and not disrupt the learning of the other kids, and we'll make sure you get there safely. But then at recess or lunch or wherever, you're going to make that time up you missed. And just showing that in a really easy way, antisocial behaviors won't ever work out for our kids. Pro-social behaviors will work out well for our kids. And our kids are learning that. And when you give them structure and safety, they respond to that well. And we have to make sure as a staff we're prepared to hold those high expectations for kids.
Are these lessons that you've learned in previous places, I mean, that you've been involved with? Or was this a new concept that you were made aware of?
It's stuff through good old-fashioned failing forward. So I was a band director, and you know, when you're a band director, you don't deal with behaviors as much. And then day one, I was an administrator at Waterloo schools, and I had to deal with behaviors. And I knew that we had to make sure kids stayed in class. We had to make sure they weren't disruptive. And then you had to figure out how to make that happen. So throughout my career, I've engaged some of the best behavioral experts in the country. I've talked to people in Colorado, Ohio, all across the country. I've engaged with them. We have some behavioral experts that we're consulting with right now. One's in Ohio. We've sent teachers out to Ohio to see a school that just has some really high-level behavior outcomes, and they've really turned some stuff around. We have a great behavioral expert that we work with out of Waterloo that comes and does training and helps us out. And so what we've just always said, and what I've done for myself, is I don't know and I want to get better. I'm going to ask people smarter than me. And because of that, we've built a wealth of knowledge that we just continue to implement. And the one thing I'll say is proof in the pudding is it's made me a heck of a better father. I feel like I'm a much better dad because I love my son, but I hold him to very high expectations. And we just do that same thing at school.
So I alluded to it a little bit in our initial conversation, but you have a little bit of history here at Oskaloosa, do you not?
I do. I'm an Oskaloosa graduate in '02, and my wife is an '03 grad. We're high school sweethearts, and my whole family lives around here. You can see my mom usually handing out cookies at Mahaska, and my grandma and my aunt are here, and I have a cousin that teaches in the district, and my mom and dad were both Oskaloosa grads, and originally grew up in Rose Hill, so I've been a Mahaska County resident, most of my life. Went to college, was gone for about 20 years, and now I'm back, and just so blessed to be back with, back with my kin, so to speak, and be at home, and it's just been a huge blessing, and we're just, Oskaloosa is doing some amazing things, and has grown so much in the 20 years since I've been gone, and I'm just so, again, as I said earlier, blessed that the community accepted us and welcomed us home.
Well, so let's talk about Mike Fisher's first day as superintendent, walking the halls that you graduated from. So you go from high school senior and graduate to one day you're walking the halls and you're the superintendent. Let's compare those last day to first day.
Well, it was very disorienting at first, and what helped was the elementary was new. I went to Grant Elementary, so I never went to that elementary, and the high school looks very different, although the old section is exactly the same. And so I kind of navigated that, okay, and then I walked through, I still call it the junior high because it's the junior high when I went there, and I actually texted a picture to my wife in the middle of the day. I said, they put me in charge of all this. That is so weird. So it was a surreal moment, but it was a really cool moment, and I had that, well, I'll just say the oh crap moment one day. I was standing on the bus lane watching all the buses leave, and we have like 20-some bus routes, and watch all our kids go home and waving at them, and I go, oh my gosh, I'm responsible for all this. And it was a very humbling moment. It was a beautiful moment, and I was just glad. I was very proud of that moment that the community asked me to come back and lead a place that I love, and I'm so proud of.
Leaders come and go. Do you foresee yourself as being a long-term part of this school district?
I will stay as long as I'm effective, and people ask that all the time, are you a job hopper or different things, and I'm not. I'm led by faith. I go where God calls us, and we've always done that. I've had many opportunities to go to much larger school districts. I had an opportunity to be in a district to lead that was probably over 10,000 kids, and we didn't even look at it because we didn't feel God was calling us there. And we were, short of a burning bush, it was like, this is where you're supposed to be. And we're home, and we don't want to leave unless we're called away or asked to leave. We want to stay here. We want to be with our family, and no, I want to see this through. I want Oskaloosa to be the school district and the community where people are choosing and are attracted, or it's magnetic, or coming to. And I want them to see what I see through my eyes as an old person, but coming back new. Wow, we've got, I call it the new Iowa. I think Oskaloosa is the new Iowa, that you can get almost a suburban metropolitan experience in a town of 11,000, 12,000 people, and with our cost of living and safety and low crime, and it takes me 3 minutes to get to Fairway or Hy-Vee, and it's just an amazing thing. We have all these opportunities you could get in Des Moines, but are much lower cost and 2 minutes away.
I was going to say, it takes just about as long to drive across to Des Moines as it does to go from Oskaloosa to Des Moines if you need to do something.
Well, I laugh. I was saying this to somebody. I won't pick on the organization by name, but there's an organization that it's a wonderful drinking and eating establishment. There's one here and there's one in Des Moines. And I said, it's so funny. I think the Des Moines one's trying to replicate what's actually authentically here. Mm-hmm. The thing that's here is the real thing. And then in the Des Moines, it's like, oh, we're trying to replicate that feeling. It's like, don't have the ripoff. Come do the real thing and be part of the authentic experience in Oskaloosa. And I keep hearing people say that. What we love about this town is just real. There's nothing fake here. And that's good, bad, or otherwise, we're very real.
So I would say that you've probably got a pretty good hold on the steering wheel of Oskaloosa School District now. And so where do you see yourself steering this district within the next few short years?
You know, I have three things that are really important to me, and one is student engagement, that our students are engaged, that they jump out of bed ready to come to school excited, and it makes my heart hurt when I see high schoolers that don't want to come. And how do we make sure that their core classes are magnetic or pulling them in? You've heard me say that many times, that they're involved in activities. You know, that they jump out of bed and want to come to school. You know, it was Mr. Van Devender that made me jump out of bed every morning in middle school to come to band. I want them to feel that way. So student engagement, and part of that's going to be, where can we use the skills we learn? Are we partnering with our communities, our community partners, our businesses, our local entities that, you know, internships, work experience at the secondary level? So that's student engagement piece. Number two is going to be, I want us to have the healthiest culture. I want our culture to be healthy. I want it to feel warm and inviting and safe for our kids and our staff. And that also means our staff. Our staff have to be healthy so that we have low turnover. They're drawn here, that we're not running them in the red line all the time and burning them out, because teacher turnover is a real thing, that we keep them for a long time. So healthy culture, and that speaks to that student behavior piece. And then finally, I want us to be really, really good at being the school of choice, that people choose us, that people say, that's where I want my kids to go. That's where I want to live in Oskaloosa. I want to work there. I want to be there. And I know we have work to go. We're still, you know, have growth. But those are the three things I want us to focus on. I think we do that. We'll be a big partner in helping Oskaloosa continue to get better every day.
Well, and you touched on it, is the staff and the educators that are part of this team that help raise our kids and instruct them to be, you know, citizens of the world. How do you attract those people and keep them here in a day and time that's full of other places that are working really hard to attract those people as well?
You know, we talk about innovative pay and benefits, and we're doing that. We're going to have good retention bonuses and, you know, not necessarily retention bonus, but retention strategies and recruitment strategies. We're always working on things like that. But the number one thing is working conditions. You know, does it feel awesome to work there? Do I have a best friend at work and peers that have my back? You know, I love the show Band of Brothers, you know, how they did it for each other, you know, and that's where our teachers need to be, band of brothers and sisters, that we do this really hard job, because we love it. We love what we do, but it's a really hard job every day. And making sure we're doing it as a team and building that high sense of safety and that normative culture where we have each other's backs. But that's the number one thing. People will stay with a lower wage or not as good of benefits when the working conditions are amazing. Now, don't get me wrong. We want to be north of fair and compensate people, you know, fairly. But I've also seen people that are making buku bucks and they quit their jobs because I just am miserable going to work every day. I want our staff to feel excited and energized to go to work every day. And as a school system, and I'm not just saying Oskaloosa, all across the country, we have not always done a good job of that. So I will tell you, we're spending lots of time and resources and energy to figure out what that is. And so a lot of things we're implementing, we're putting culture teams in place at all of our schools to figure out how to improve culture. And not just donut day and Hawaiian shirt day. Those are great, right? But that's not the solution. The solution is a safe, inviting culture that people feel attracted to and that they feel like they have a voice. So that's a piece we're working on too, is distributed leadership, that it's not a top-down organization. Our kids and our teachers, the ones in the classrooms, are the ones making the decisions. You know, now with parameters and boundaries, obviously, but not me making all the decisions, because I don't know what's best for our people. So that autonomy, we want to build that. That's a big working condition piece as well. So you'll hear a lot about distributed leadership, you know, decisions around our organization. And then I think finally, the big thing is just making sure we value our people. We communicate all the time how much we care about them. You'd be surprised how many of our people just don't hear thank you. Every day I go into classrooms. Before our interview, I was doing walkthroughs in the middle school because I like doing that. I just saw subs. I say, thank you for being here, right? And that thank you is more powerful than an extra $5 a day. And so how are we valuing them in our words, our actions, you know, is really important. And so we're going to continue to work on that and build on that to make our place the best place to work.
Yeah, I'm familiar with a very wise and smart business person in town, and he says people work for two paychecks. There's that financial one, but there's also that satisfaction paycheck. Is that the part that you're really trying to work on then the most?
Absolutely. It's our satisfaction paycheck, and it should be satisfying working with kids every day. But when there's more pressure from federal and state level, when there's more pressure from the, just society and culture at times too, it gets really hard. It's a lonely job. And so, I believe the two things that have really been pushing teachers out of the industry, so to speak, have been student behaviors and then also sometimes peer conflict with their peers. And so that's why we've made a huge focus on making sure our student behaviors are that we can naturally deal with them in a way doesn't have to take a ton of effort from us, And then number two, making sure our peer relationships, that they have great relationships where they have each other's backs and they care and love each other. Because I spend more time at work than I do at home. I mean, we just do. That's the way we are in our society. So we inevitably are sharing our lives with the people that we teach and work with. So is that a satisfying experience? Do I feel like they have my back? And that's a huge thing for us. That's a warm, inviting experience. And so because the satisfaction paycheck should be there because of working with kids, but we've got to work on those other pieces as well to make sure that they keep cashing that check.
Mm-hmm. So the people in the community might go, I'm really kind of inspired. I'm hearing great things. They might want to become more involved here at the school. What kinds of things would you tell parents, community members, hey, we could use help with this, or could you get involved with this? What kinds of things would you encourage the community to help kids out and help the district with?
Just continue to talk to us and reach out to us. And we want feedback. It doesn't hurt our feelings when we get feedback that's even critical, And here's the funny thing, not just posting something on Facebook, because by the time we see it, it's like, well, gosh, it's been like a week later. Call us, email us, text us. My cell phone number is out there everywhere. I tell people, it's 319-415-3426. Call or text me. I am a servant of this community, and there's something that we can do to support our community. We want to do that. So send us those messages and let us know. If there's something that is not going well, let us know. We want to fix it. If there's things that are going well, please tell us. We want to make sure we keep doing that, and we want to celebrate that as well. So continue to communicate. And then also, it's a big flock of people we have to shepherd each day. We need help. So if you want to come read to kids, you want to come volunteer, you want to come be around kids, you got some time to do that. You want a substitute teacher, drive a bus, come on in. We want you to be around here. I know people in our culture are a little worried, like, what's going on in classrooms? We say this, come on in. Anytime somebody wants to take a tour or look around, we encourage that. Our teachers actually asked that. Our teacher focus group, they said, we wish more people would stop by and come in. I have such a privilege. I get to walk through every classroom every week, and it's one of my favorite things to do. I was a little behind this week, didn't get the elementary, but I got through the middle school and high school, and it just makes my heart soar of seeing the amazing things that are happening. I watched a math class this morning in high school, learning the quadratic formula by rapping. And how cool is that, right? And I think sometimes people think, oh, what's going on in those classrooms? Is it good or bad? If you come see it, you'll find out that, I like to say this, we just got good God-fearing people that are just doing the best for kids and every day. And so reach out, come see it.
Okay, and I'm gonna wrap this up here pretty quick for us. But so you've got that 30-second elevator pitch. The doors went ding, the doors are closing, and mom and dad or somebody else turns around to you and goes, why should I bring my kid to Oskaloosa? You've got 30 seconds to convince them.
You know what I say? Oskaloosa is a peculiar, real, authentic place that has amazing opportunities for kids. We have big opportunities and we have small class sizes, but we are peculiar. We're a little different. We're not for everyone. I like to say we're like the Southwest Airlines, Certain people fly Southwest. Everybody flies Delta. So if we're the right fit for you, come on in, come check us out. And I think more often than not, people will see our peculiar brand of school here. It's the right fit for a lot of people.
All right. Any last thoughts, Mr. Fisher?
No, I just want to thank you and the community for being so supportive, and thanks for helping us get the message out.
All right. Well, you have a Merry Christmas, sir.
Well, you too.